told the story earlier about Monkey and how he came across the 7-string. So it's cool. It's pretty cool because I got him playing his electric and getting serious about his guitar. I inspired him because he came over to my house. He was playing acoustic, trying to get that Land of the Lost going again. And so he came over to my house, and I just played like note for note, besides the solo, Dawkins songs. George Lynch is a beast, right? I love George Lynch. So he was like, oh my gosh, this guy's my age, and he's playing these songs and he's killing it, and it just sparked something in him. He's like, man, I want to play. I want to get an electric, and so I wanted a Charvel at the time that would look like Lynch's. So I said to Monkey, I said, hey, won't you buy my guitar? And, I'll sell you this. It sounded good. It looked good. It was like one of those, I think it was BC Rich, like a Star. I don't know. I forget. But so I jacked up the price like $100 more than what I bought it for. And his dad paid it. And so, because I wanted the Charvel, and it was brand new. And so that's the story that I ripped Monkey off of the. But I inspired him, right? But then it turned around like 5 years later, he inspired me because he got the 7-string. And when I got into the band, it was all because of him. It was all Steve Ide inventing that guitar, so we give props to him. But Monkey was the one that went after it. And then once we got together, and it felt so good to be back with Monkey and Fieldy and playing again too, because we had that history. And we did go separate ways with different styles and genres or whatever that we were into because of the Faith No More and the Chili Peppers. And I was always metal. I just wanted to stay metal. And so to come back into that relationship with them musically, I couldn't bond with any musicians. I don't know why. I think it was meant to be, but every door closed. It was either a flake or just it wasn't a good match. So and so musical products, just relationships didn't work after I met those guys when we were kids. So when I got back together with them, we just started writing. Every song was on the low register, that low beat. This is maybe, I don't know what this tune is. Snark tuner, who cares? But we came up with this. We just wanted to get weird. Another one of our inspirations were a band called Mr. Bungle. Yeah, right? And they were just doing that. I don't even know. Some of those songs are. What the hell is that? Back in '89 or whatever, it's like. You're used to hair bands on MTV every day. It's all melody or it's rock and rock, wow. You know what I'm saying? And this band's and they go, we went and saw them in Northern California, and they went up on the stage, and they just went. With their masks on, and they stood there for 10 minutes, just we were like, what the hell is this? The crowd started booing them, and they wouldn't, nothing. They didn't even give a rip. They were so weird. And so we got heavily inspired by them. And yes, I'll just say it. We could just rip them off straight. So when we started Blind, we came up with that intro, that weird chord. And then my first chords were, you can tell the influence. It's the same Bungle chord. And then we brought it into the song. That back and forth thing with me and Monkey. And so the cool thing with Korn was we took a bit of influence from different things because we still love the melody. We love Bungle and the weirdness, but what if we took a little bit of that weirdness, put it into some heavy groove like Sepultura and Prong and Biohazard and then we had some, cool melody choruses and just put it in a pot and stirred it. So you had weirdness, melody, hooks, groove, power, You know what I'm saying? And so that's what started our sound. And Rage Against the Machine was a huge influence too because their live shows and their like dynamics, like you know, we borrowed off a lot of influences, and so but when we started, it morphed into our own unique thing, and so in that first record, I mean, here's the Bungle chord again, that our song Divine. And so, Jonathan adds his vocals and just weird style of singing, and you go doesn't sound like Bungle at all, right? It sounds like just something new. And so, great record. And then we always liked things that sounded out of tune and just weird, like that Chutes and Ladders, Beautiful, beautiful bagpipe thing comes in. It's like it's got reverb and delay on it. And I remember we're in Malibu at what was it called? Indigo Ranch Recording Studio. And Jonathan walked down this driveway or up this driveway, and he put the mics outside. Ross did, and so you can hear the birds chirping and everything. That's in Malibu Hills up there. And he's walking down the driveway with his bagpipes. You can hear it getting closer and closer. And then that just, simple, but just kind of groovy and hooky. And then this, to me, it's like a Soundgarden. He's, just bent, but it's kind of a unique bend. It just, I don't know, it sounds trippy that. We called it the Bumblebee, because if you got two guitar players doing it, it's like it's just like dreamy, So simple, right? But it was just like, the weird thing. It sounded weird, and so we were like, bam. And then so we hit that. I love the chord. We did the mute, and then that like one stroke of the Bumblebee with the mute, like. We hit it. There it is. You gotta do it on this pickup. So that was that record, and we got the sound out there. Radio was like, we ain't playing this. What is this? It was like Dave. He said either this is gonna bomb or it's gonna be huge. Like you can't go in the middle there. But our live show is what, heavily influenced by Rage Against the Machine's live show, especially Zach, how he's just flipping his dreads around and just going for it. And we were like, what if the whole band like just went nuts, instead, because the other guys in Rage, they groove too, but it was more like and we kind of were like, what if we didn't sit down and say, let's just have different characters, and we'll all look like different. It just happened because we liked style. We love the hip hop. We love the industrial. Jonathan grew up in like the goth scene, and he wore skirts and stuff and makeup to school and all kinds of weird stuff. So we had a balance like of like that thing, that goth weird thing, like he was wearing skirts, at the clubs that we were at before we got signed, and then Fieldy, he was all into hip hop, the LA gangster scene and all that, and so Cypress Hill, and then we were, but Fieldy also loved Pantera, so it was a thing where there's a lot of influences, man, and so that it just worked, So we toured that record, came back and did Life is Peachy, really fast, like 2 months, written, recorded, done, out back on the road, and we started touring with bands like Deftones, and so we got a little bit more. I think we were going a little bit more catchy on that record, but it was still just weird, like that song Adidas. Here's the guitar riff. This is not tuned right. You know what I mean? And it's like simple, but it had like a kind of a hook thing to it, and then the chorus was Monkey wrote this. it's nice. Got a nice melody, kind of simple and everything, but just the bass, dude. The bass was Fieldy's bass tone that they got early on. It was just so deep and rich and just slapping. And so on that bridge part, you know, and then just simple that riff. It was all about the feel of the band, you know. It wasn't really technical, but it was like, what makes you move? What makes you feel something, you know? And so the drums, the bass, the guitar, and the vocals, everything, it just kind of combined to something good. So that was that record. Moving along, you know, we grew. We started getting played on MTV a little bit. You know, we got not heavy rotation, like just kind of mediocre rotation on MTV. I remember my dad he would get up in the mornings and he got a treadmill and everything, and he turned on MTV, just going through the channels while I was on the treadmill, and he saw me like getting zipped up in a body bag in that video, and he's like, I don't like that video. You know, we painted dead with the makeup and all that, and so that was kind of cool to see the growth. And we toured with bands like Deftones and did theater runs, and then we got bigger tours. It was an honor on our first tour, like on our first record, to open for Megadeth, and yeah, man, it's like great. You were there too, yeah. I mean, I used to love watch Megadeth on MTV every day, and just a cool, unique sound that they had, and so really, 95, dude, crazy, 25 years old I was, but So, and then the Ozzy tour and everything. We didn't know what to think because, I mean, dude, Ozzy was my jam when I was little. And so just to see him, like, every day back, we didn't really hang out with him because he was just kept to himself a lot, but we did a little bit, you know. And I remember him and Sharon brought us a bottle of champagne when our record went gold on that tour. And so, yeah, and he told us, he was just like, I just want to congratulate you. You're always gonna go ahead. And then Sharon's like, it interpreted for him, you know? She's looking at him and she just says, we think you guys are gonna go very far in this industry, so get ready, you're gonna have a great career. And she kind of spoke it out, you know, and so that was really cool. It was surreal, actually, because I had followed Ozzy like his whole career, and I'm just blown away to be able to be on a panel with, you know, the guys tomorrow for the great producers that done, you know, Blizzard of Oz, Diary of Madman, and Toby Wright, who did Follow the Leader with us, which I will get into now. That album, we just, you know, we were just friends. We grew up together, like I said earlier, and we got into a room and wrote music, and that was it, and just whatever came out. And so I think it had something to do with destiny and everything. And so that's what we did with Follow the Leader. And, you know, the song Got the Life had that disco beat. We were scared of that. We were like, you know, because we're known for being heavy and whatnot. And Adidas was a little bit more of like had a lot more melody and everything, but it still had that heaviness. And so when David came out with that disco beat, you know, Monkey came up with the riff. And I'm like, dude, we can't do a disco beat. We're Korn, you know? And we were all scared, you know? And then Jonathan came up with the verse, though. Hey, something, sometime, some way, something, kick out the flow for me. And, you know, he's like screaming it kind of, and we're like, okay, that can kind of work because he's like heavy voice, you know? And so when he came up with the chorus to the lyrics, like I remember it just hit. Like Monkey actually said it first. He was like, God paged me, never see, whatever. I can't sing and play. But it was God paged me. They had the pagers back then. When we play it live, we should be like, God text me, because times have changed. But yeah, it was just so that song. It was weird. The weird thing came into factor, but it was kind of like, you know, disco-y, but with like screaming, but with a cool chorus, a hooky chorus. And so when that came out of the box, man, MTV was like, that song is awesome. Radio was like, okay, now we can play Korn, and it was But it was still Korn, right? It was on the edge of like, okay, more people could get it, but it wasn't like selling out. It was like we were us, but it was a little bit more towards, okay, this is a little bit more acceptable, so maybe we'll start playing them. So heavy rotation MTV. They actually made a rule for TRL, that countdown show, because of that video, because the fans wouldn't stop voting for it. We had a second single, and it was still like getting numbered top 3 or whatever. So they came up with a rule: if you're on the countdown for this long, you have to retire the video. So we were the first retiree for Got the Life, and then of course, Freak on a Leash. Anybody hear that song? Yeah, that song was amazing. We wrote that too. You know what I liked about that record is we were.
It's awesome.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know you were there.
I am.
But we were like our best friends then. You know, we just by our no management, anybody. We went into the studio and we just hung out for 8 hours a day and just wrote, laughed, and all 5 of us, not 4, not 3. Jonathan was there the whole time, and we just had fun, man. We wrote all these songs together, you know? And, you know, Monkey's the... What's Monkey's part? I gotta learn it. Sorry, I didn't have a sound check. Monkey's Party. There it is. That haunting, like scary thing, you know?
Something takes a part of me.
Hey, look at him. But and it's kind of a major, you know. This sounds like a horror movie. Something takes a part, and his vocals major, so it kind of like it was. I loved how Jonathan did that. He had the major feel when we sounded scary, and it just kind of mixed together. It sounded even more creepy because his pretty melody lines over a creepy. Music was it just kind of worked, you know. And so then after the, you know, those verses came in, whatever, and then the pre-chorus was sometimes you know, just nice melody and everything. Something takes a part of me. Really hooky and everything, but then we get all weird again. That Bungle influence always comes back, man. The bridge. Jonathan was into all that, like he got it from hip hop, like. Remember the hip-hop, early hip-hop? They did that, like the reggae feel. Whatever. He took that, and I don't know what it was like early in the day. He wasn't on meth. He wasn't on drinking or nothing. He just did this. I'm going to go back to the record before that, Life is Peachy. He just came in one day and goes, and we're like, what the hell was that? Ross Robinson was like, dude, what was that? He's like, I don't know. I used to love that reggae thing, but he put some more rasp on it. We're like, dude, do that again. And then, so we caught the groove of it, and we just, weirdest chord, you know. We wrote a riff with that chord.
Twist, 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 twist.
What the hell is that? We started the damn record with that, and it's like, whoa. Okay. So isn't that cool though? Because we could have, you know, something that abstract and out there, and then Adidas, where it's like pretty. So it was a balance, you know, it was a balance of like cool melody and just out there. And so all that to say, what was I gonna say? I went back to that record. Oh yeah,
you're talking about the reggae thing.
Freak on a Leash. He brought that back. We're just like, dude, you're just so weird and awesome. And then, you know, it's just so out there, and it's like, go! Boy, don't sing out now. I mean, it was just like, dude, I got the best singer ever, right? I was so proud to be in a band with him, and and the riffs, just our backing of his like intensity was just so cool. And so I'm so proud of that record, man. And
we're going to talk about that record a lot tomorrow with Toby Wright at the
Toby
PBX
Wright will be there.
Expo, one of the gentlemen who produced that record. So I think that's all the time we have. You got one more thing? Okay, good.
I got to use the whammy, man.
Oh,
You
yeah,
set
you
it
do.
up and everything.
Yeah, you
so
do.
this is 20 minutes right now, so give me 2 more.
Perfect.
Okay. So if we weren't low enough already, we started the Here to Stay record. By that time, you guys, the record industry was just had so much money, and we were so big that we basically spent like $2 or $3 million on this record. We got houses in Phoenix. One had a stripper pole put in it. One had all of our gear, and we wrote these songs in the basement. And it was like I was trying to get sober because my wife had left me, and she got hooked on crystal meth, had these skinheads moving to our house. I almost committed murder by hiring someone to offer. I mean, it was bad. And so I got sober and everything. And meanwhile, we wrote this song. It was another weird drum beat, but Fieldy, I think, came up with the riff. Like, he was on his bass just going. Just had a nice hook to it, you know? And we just hit it, you know, and we found these whammy pedals, Digitech whammy pedals, which, if we weren't low enough already, it brings an octave down. And so, well, almost knocked a tooth out. But, and then just got the killer low sound. Michael Beinhorn was the producer. He got it. So I just want to highlight that riff before I go. You know what I mean? Just really heavy and just head bobbing. Just you feel it, you know, really simple, but you feel it. And so that record just brought us to another level. And, you know, I think I'll just stop there because they only give me 20 minutes. But, I mean, just it's really, we're really blessed, and we were really creative. And I'm proud of my brothers of what we created. And, you know, who would have thought 25 years later we're still going. And, you know, Jonathan had a rough year, but we're coming out strong tomorrow. His music and his fans are healing. You know, and so we appreciate all you guys that come out to the show and everything, and just, you know, think about us, you know, because it's been a really hard year, and so we can't wait to see you guys get back out on the road, you know, and rock and roll just keeps us all, you know, young and really just driving, you know, it makes us feel better, right? Rock and roll is so good, so yeah, people say what they want about rock and roll, but it's going to come back, and it's doing fine to me anyway already. So, yeah.
Give it up for Brian Head Welch, everybody.